Good afternoon, welcome to the Pulse here on Joy News. It's Friday. My name is Elton Brobe. Will it be victory for John Mahama and the NDC in the general elections next year? The prediction of two UK-based firms, Economic Intelligence Unit and Fitch Solutions. This afternoon we break down the report with details the reasons for the prediction. Back home, John Dramani Mahama himself has been campaigning in the Bono region where he's accusing the Akufo-Addo administration of driving the country into a ditch. We also bring you an update of Liberia's runoff election with the opposition currently in the lead after more than 80% of the votes counted. Also coming up this afternoon, the era of slave trade, which has remained a blot on the conscience of the world. Today, we examine demands by African leaders for reparation.
The entire continent of Africa deserves a formal apology from the European nations involved in the slave trade.
And as Christmas approaches, how are events planners preparing to ensure safety at the various events which many will be attending? There is a thought leadership event organized by Joy Entertainment coming up tomorrow. We have a build-up to that date.
Now at this point, whether you hate me or whether you love me, I want you to understand the reason why we've had to end the show is for your own safety. Okay?
These are more here on the Pulse. My name is Elton Brobe. It's a pleasure to be with you. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities Digilu, affordable, safe sanitation for all. We're live on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV 125. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and myjoyonline.com for these and many more. We'll be right back to deal with the various matters. Now let's deal with the matters on the table this afternoon on the Pulse. My name is Elton Brobe. Former President John Mahama is likely to win the 2024 presidential elections. That's the prediction by two UK-based firms, Economic Intelligence Unit and Fitch Solutions. According to the EIU, Ghana is likely to experience a transfer of power from the ruling New Patriotic Party to the opposition NDC, largely driven by declining living standards, limited job opportunities, and poor public services. Fitch Solutions, on the other hand, says the ruling party is likely to remain in power, with former President John Mahama expected to win the swing regions by nearly 48% as against Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia's 29%. We have both camps reacting to this shortly, but here are details of that report. So what you're seeing on your screens now is details of a report put together by Fitch Solutions and, of course, EIU, and they are forecasting the economic situation likely to be experienced in the world, and then they narrow it down to sub-Saharan Africa and, of course, to Ghana. And in Ghana, they look at the fact that elections are coming up, especially in December of 2024, both presidential and parliamentary. And they are looking at how our city is going to perform, how the economy in general is going to perform, and how that will impact or influence voters' decision to select who should lead the country in 2025. And according to the two organizations based in the United Kingdom, but what they have analyzed and based on their own survey, and of course, what they have picked from Info Analytics, they are predicting a win for the opposition leader, John Dramani Mahama, who is a flag bearer of the NDC, and he will be coming up against he will be coming against the MPP's candidate, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Now, we can listen to senior analyst for Sub-Saharan Africa at Fitch Solutions, Mike Konenga.
I think at this point, we believe that the opposition National Democratic Congress, or the NDC, is best placed to win the election. Multiple surveys have shown that the economy will be the most important point for voters in the upcoming election, which will give the ruling New Patriotic Party, or NPP, a disadvantage, given that the recent economic downturn happened under NPP leadership. So if you take a look at the at recent polls, which I've included on the right-hand side of this slide, you'll see that the NDC's leader, John Mahama, is not only leading in the Volta OT and northern regions, areas typically favoring the NDC anyway, but also in swing regions and even in Akan regions, which usually lean towards the NPP. So as for now, it seems pretty likely that the NDC will manage to secure a majority in the December 2024 election.
So these are the matters that are before us this afternoon. And of course, it's likely to be a morale booster for the NDC. If we're a supporter of the NDC, this will give you some comfort going into the 2024 general election. But if you're a member of the MPP, it will give you cause to worry, because clearly from the predictions by the two bodies, the EIU and of course Fitch Solutions, it doesn't look good for the MPP going into the 2024 election. But how much currency must we place on this? Head of our political desk, Evans Mensah, joins me in studio as we analyze the two reports put together by the EIU and, of course, the Fitch Solutions. Evans, this came in last night. Mm-hmm. And break it down for us. First, let's start with the Fitch Solutions report.
So the Fitch Solutions report is based on the Global Info Analytics analysis and polling that they've done in October. Right. Very recently. And it looks at the intentions, voter intentions, of course, because 2024 is far off. But if you're voting today, post the election of the MPP flag bearer, who will you vote for? And they did this in the Volta and OT area, which of course is a stronghold of the NDC. And in that region, John Mahama is, according to the poll, getting some 68% of the votes, just below 70%.
Yeah, the gap is quite wide.
It's significant, and you have the Dr. Bawumia, just above 10%. So they've got 12% of the votes there, both Volta and OT. But that is to be expected, obviously, because of the stronghold
of the NDC
in these areas. But I've always said, in election years, it's important to look at how candidates are doing in their strongholds. It's important. If you're getting complete margins closer to 80, 90, then you know that you're doing something good in those areas. So it is important to watch what's happening there. My interest is also the Akan regions. You're looking at the Ashanti region, Eastern region.
The Bono East.
The Bono, exactly.
Bono region itself, and of course, Ahafo regions.
Yeah.
So these are three regions.
Very important.
Making the Akan regions.
Yes, and they put all of these together. I would be interested to see what is happening
in the Ashanti region, for example.
Exactly. Because they have Volta and OT, it's important to also isolate Ashanti region. You can even add the Eastern region, because we know that traditionally the MPP have always won the Eastern region, correct? I mean, so that we can do like-for-like comparison. But they put all the Akan regions together. But so let's work with what we have. So if you isolate the Akan regions all together, it is almost neck and neck. Because you look at Mahama still in the lead there, according to this particular analysis, which the Fitch Solutions has included, based on the Global Info Analytics polling. You have John Mahama some 36, 38% thereabout. And then you have the Baumia at 35, just right in the middle there. So it's very close.
And it's very interesting looking at this from the background of the fact that the NDC, the MPP always perform quite well in the Akan region.
As they should.
And yet this is almost neck to neck.
And that's my point. I mean, where you've traditionally won, that's where you look at, if you look at how you're performing in elections, it tells you what's going to happen in the long run. If you are winning with significant margins in your strongholds, places that you're supposed to win, if you're winning with significant margins and you're leaving everybody else behind you with huge dominant margins, that shows that you are carrying the day. If you're not doing as well in your traditional strongholds and places you're supposed to win, that of course sends alarm bells ringing. And then you come to the swing regions. Again, according to this report that Fitch Solutions had captured from Global Info Analytics, John Mahama is in a significant lead as far as voter intentions are concerned at some 48%. And then you have Dr. Baumia in at 29% thereabout.
Yes.
Right? And so that tells you a story of what is happening in the swing regions as well. Now, the interesting thing to note, though, that in 2020, some of the swing regions did not quite pan out the way we thought they would.
Absolutely.
Right? So although, for example, in the Greater Accra region, we know that the NDC did quite well, actually win it. Didn't win the national election.
Yes, but they won Greater Accra region.
Exactly. Which was something. It's an outlier. We haven't seen that before, because you win Greater Accra, you win the national elections. You win Central, you win the national elections. But that didn't quite turn out in the last elections. Will this be restored in 2020, 2024? My guess is most likely, right? Because last 4 years, 2020 was an outlier, and that's why the swing region voting, the intentions is also very important. And then you have the northern regions where...
No, but let's stay a little longer on the swing region. So you want to also bring in the central and the western region, quite also significant in terms of determining who may likely win the 2024 elections. And if Greater Accra fell for NDC in 2020, the MPP won the central region in 2020 as well. Yeah. So how do you put the two together? Looking at what this prediction is telling us.
That's my point exactly. Because that whole trend was disrupted in 2020, the only question you need to ask is, will the trend be restored in 2026? In other words, will the outlier scenarios that led to this situation where you win a swing region but didn't win the national, will that be restored to what it used to be? Would business as usual return in 2020? History says it should, right? But this is politics. There are no absolutes there.
Yes.
And so that is important. But at least if you're looking at voter intentions on the evidence of what has been put before us by Fitch Solutions, today it's worrying, right? But you know what? There is a year to go.
Of course.
And a year is a long time in politics.
And also made a very important point that this was done before the MPP had this Congress to elect the vice president as the party's candidate for 2024 election. Again,
that's a factor that you need to put in there. But because they have Baumia in the NDC, so there are a few questions that again we need to clarify. When exactly was this done? It said October 2023.
Right.
Okay. When in October was this done? Because of course we know that the elections, just ended,
yes.
right? So was it before or was it after? Because that will come into play. But of course they worked with Baumia there. Baumia is the flag bearer of the party. And we know, of course, this is voter intentions, of course. Intentions between now and next year, there's a lot to play in the picture.
And then the northern region, you have the contenders from both parties coming from the north of the country.
And that's what makes next year's elections very interesting. You have two people from the northern region. And we were doing this analysis over the period. Baumia has been very dominant for the MPP in the northern regions. In Northeast, for example, if we isolated when he stepped in 2008, they were losing that particular region up until the point where it got neck and neck, and now has overtaken the NDC in that particular region. And we see that playing out in most of the regions of the north, the Baumia effect. If you look at the voter intentions as captured by the Global Info Analytics, as Fitch Solutions has highlighted, they put Dr. Baumia at 32% of the votes there in the northern region. So in the northern regions, you're talking about the Upper East, the Upper West, northern region itself, Northeast, Savannah, right? Overall, altogether, they put John Mahama in the lead at some 59% of the votes there. Now, that's the reality of the polling intentions as of now. You know the background to polling. Once it comes to the person who has
in the lead, obviously excited about it and all that.
And some of the questions sometimes legitimate ones, some of them sometimes when you interrogate, not so. For example, I have my own questions. One, who exactly was polled, how many of them, why put everything together. But we're working with some that has been pulled before by Fit Solutions, which from every indication is a credible entity. And so we need to ask the questions, but also tell people what they found.
I will move to EIU because EIU appears to provide reasons why perhaps we are seeing what we are seeing. But in the northern region where you have the NDC's candidate John Mahama in a clear lead, and now you have the MPP also, they've also elected a Nordna to compete for the presidency in 2025. Now, looking at the outcome of the MPP Delegates Congress, especially the result that came from the north, where Bawumia had a clean sweep in almost like 4 out of the 5 northern regions. Do you see this changing as we go forward?
I mean, that is going to be a key factor. Bawumia is very strong. I mean, the evidence, as I indicated, shows that he's very, very strong in the regions. The difference, though, is he's been very strong for the MPP at the time when he was the running mate, right? When John Mahama obviously was the face on the ballot. Now, the key question to ask is, now that his face is not going to be on the ballot, will that galvanize the base even more in the regions of the north? That's a very fundamental question.
Right.
But you have to place all this within the context of what is happening in the economy. That's why when you come to the EIU report, it becomes important, right? Those factors will be important. The economic factors will be important. History and the trend says you expect Bawumia to do well, very, very well in those parts. But will the economic factors, will the social factors come to play to the point where it hands an advantage to John Mahama, for example? It's a question we don't have an answer to. Only the voters will determine that. But EIU believes those two factors will be critical.
So perhaps you can summarize the conclusion of the EIU in coming up with a decision that John Mahama is likely to win the 2020.
So if you come to the EIU, and the EIU one is interesting because it places Ghana in the context of Africa and what is going to happen on the continent with elections generally. In Ghana's case, they say that Ghana is likely to experience a transfer of power to the opposition National Democratic Congress. Now, the reason why everybody expects this to happen, obviously, because of our own political trends in Ghana. Why? Because of the 8-year cycle, which is up for the MPP. So the truth is, even the MPP will tell you that they know that the odds are against them.
Right.
Because nobody has done it before. They attempt to do something that hasn't been done before. So when you say it's likely, yes, of course, it is likely that that will happen. That's what history tells us. Then you have a further complication, which EIU mentions. It will be this change will happen, they say, due to declining living standards, limited job opportunities, poor public services, right? Those 3 things are important. If you just go back to the budget, we are still in a difficult place. Yes, we are seeing signs of the economy turning around, signs of recovery and stability, but we aren't there yet. The most important point, Elting, is these small gains. Can the government sustain these gains over a long period of a year? By the time you get to the 7th of December 2024, the benefits are beginning to materialize in people's pockets, right? Because they talk about living standards, they talk about limited jobs. The government announced in the budget that they've created 2.3 million jobs, 900,000 in the private sector, and over 1 million in the public sector, right? If those numbers are true, the key question then remains, can you increase these numbers substantially between now and next year elections? If you do, then those become mitigating factors to the analysis that EIU is putting forward.
Let me ask a final question so that I can bring in the reps from the NDC and the MPP, Sami Jemfi, and of course the MPP Director of Communications. They are joining us to tell us what they make of this, bare facts that have been presented by EIU and Fit Solutions. Evans, final question I want to ask you: can anything change from now till December 2024? Now, also I want you to look at the budget. The budget, the comprehensive document different from what the finance minister read on the floor of parliament. What we have, and just a few hours ago, we were discussing the various taxes that government is seeking to introduce in the 2024 budget. Clearly, government understands that the situation we are in is quite difficult. Government cannot flower it worse anymore. Based on what the budget is presenting in 2024 and government-owned projection that things may get better in 2024, do you see anything changing before the elections?
A lot can change, but it all depends on how well this government handles the economy. But listen, there is absolutely no doubt that John Mahama has momentum on his side. And the numbers we're seeing from the Fitch, the Solutions report, shows that dominantly. If you're an NDC, you look at these numbers, you know yourself that even before you see these numbers, it's expected that John Mahama will be in a commanding lead. Obviously, because of where we are historically, this economy is showing in the economic crisis we're having is the worst in a generation. Even in years that we've not been this bad, right? In the second terms, incumbents lose elections, right? Then you throw in there an economic crisis worse in a generation. That tells you that the opposition leader is in a commanding lead, and which is what we are seeing this. And you see, the thing that happened in 2016 is very likely, right? Again, because of the under 4 years. No, they are tsunami years. Tsunami years are years in which, regardless of what you do as an incumbent,
it will be difficult.
It will be difficult.
But again, the NDC's candidate, John Dramani Mahama, he's been there before, he's done that.
That's true.
Would that give people the opportunity to say that we saw your work whilst we're at the office 4 years, we saw what you brought us? Are people still having some kind of skepticism when it comes to John Mahama?
And that's the point. And that will be dependent on how successful the MPP is in getting voters to remember the negatives of John Mahama in 2016, from 2012 to 2016, right? And I'm saying that it's far more difficult to get that memory back than, of course, you have one that is just ending. I'm sure that's just ending.
And whilst we are doing that, you're also looking at the promises that were made from 2016 up until now by this current administration and the state of affairs in this country.
Exactly. And so it's a tough task. As I say, that momentum is definitely on the side of the NDC. But this is politics. You ask the question, will a lot change? A lot will change. Is it enough to swing the momentum back on the side of the MPP? I don't know. 1 year will tell us. But the numbers are the numbers, as we have it in the polling as captured here, and the EIU report that says, in essence, they're telling us things that you can reasonably expect.
All right.
The key point is MPP would like to change his narrative in the next 1 year. NDC would like to obviously hold on to this narrative and improve on it going forward. Because if we go to the Volta region, for example, I'm expecting them to be doing far more than 68% as the Global Info Analytics is showing. I expect them to be doing well over 70%, 80% in terms of winning those numbers in the Volta NOT regions. And of course, as for the MPP, they know that already, that if they get 75 and beyond in Ashanti region, they tend to win elections. It's a challenge. It's a challenge for them to try and turn that around.
All right, Evans Mensah, thank you very much for coming through. He is the head of our political desk here, and we've been analyzing the two reports that we have, the EIU and, of course, the Fitch Solutions. Now, so the political parties, what do they make of this, and how are they banking on this? Are they taking cue from it to see how best they can reform their ways ahead of 2024? And for those who are already in the lead, how are they hoping to capitalize on this for electoral victory in 2024? Joining me on the line to analyze these matters, Sabi Gyamfi, Communications Officer with the NDC, and of course, Richard Ahiagba, he is Director of Communications for the MPP. Mr. Ahiagba joins us via Zoom. Mr. Ahiagba, good afternoon and welcome to the Pulse here on Joy News. Yeah, Mr. Ahiagba, if you can hear me, good afternoon and welcome. All right, let me also bring in Mr. Sami Gyamfi, Communications Officer with the NDC. Sami, good afternoon, welcome to Joy News.
Thanks for having me also.
Right, so Sami, this should be a welcome news for the NDC. How excited are you going into 2024, knowing very well that these two reputable organizations appears to place John Mahama ahead of the MPP in the 2024 elections?
Well, until victory is won, we will not be complacent. We will not be excited about any poll or prediction, however factual, credible, or refreshing that poll may be. Clearly, the forecast by Fitch Solutions and the Economic Intelligence Unit is a refreshing and encouraging prediction. That is how we are taking it. The real job is on the ground. We still have about a year to the December 7, 2024 poll. And we are not going to allow this to get into our head and get complacent at all, because we know that winning 2024 is a Herculean task. And we need to do all it takes, leaving no stone unturned, to win, and not just win, but win resoundingly. And the reason why we have adopted this posture is because necessity is laid on us as a political party to rescue our beloved country, Ghana, from the clutches of the corrupt, nepotistic, inept, failed, nation-wrecking Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government. And we cannot afford to fail. We cannot afford to falter. We cannot afford to let down Ghanaians. We in the NDC, we, led by His Excellency the Nation Brother John Dramani Mahama, are the only hope the good people of this country have for a better future. Because they know our track record. They know that we have a leader who cares for the people, a leader who is honest and humble, a leader who has a vision and a solution for the economic mess we currently find ourselves in. And so, Elton, we are encouraged by this report from the EIU and Fitch Solutions. It's very refreshing. We thank them for that. But this only motivates us to work more, to work harder, to do more than we are doing, and to ensure that come December 7, 2024, majority, an overwhelming majority of the Ghanaian electorate will be in no doubt that John Dramani Mahama and the NDC are the best solutions.
I mean, let me hold you there for a minute. Let me bring in your other colleague on the other side, Mr. Richard Ahiagba, the director of communications for the MPP, who's also joining us via phone. Mr. Ahiagba, good afternoon. Welcome to the Pulse here on Joy News.
Good afternoon.
So what is your initial reaction to the two reports by Fitch and, of course, the EIU predicting a win for the NDC in the 2024 elections?
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon to your listeners. I do look at research, first of all, appreciating the methods and the approach to data collection, the analysis, the general research methodology. I'm not privy to the process that led to this, but so in the absence of that detailed understanding of how the data was pulled, I think I would just say that it's an indication in time, and we're discussing that in a vacuum. The predictions, I guess, very early days, yet a lot of things will change by the time people go to the poll to make a decision. It's a very fluid situation, so this does not paint any concrete picture of what is to come, but it only is an indication that the polls have provided, and I don't think it reflects reality. And so I've seen polls come, and the outcome actually is not the same. I can give you a very, very clear example. In 2016, in the state where you will expect that some of these polls are very scientific and time-tested, the outcome of the election was entirely different. So polls in relation to voter behavior is not a perfect science. If there's anything at all, it's a qualitative assessment of what will happen, which always, by far, do not happen in most cases. But in our particular case, in Ghana, you would look at a lot of things. You see, I think Evan talked about the 8-year cycle in our election.
Right.
If you take that as a basis for analysis, you realize that the NPP doesn't give you a predictable case. Because if you saw NPP in 2008, that election, NPP won the first round. So that is not a characteristic feature you want to say that to be used right there to off. Rather, if you're looking at history to predict the outcome of 2024, you'll rather look at that to say that it is likely, okay, the real data, the real poll itself, is likely that the NPP would win that election than not, on the basis of that history. And you saw NDC 8-year cycle in 2016 and 2004. 2000, right? The NDC actually struggled. It ended up both. If NDC wins after an 8-year term, it's always a second round before they are able to pull through or lose. So you have a situation, I think we can discount 2000, but if you look at what happened in 2008, it is clear evidence that the NPP is much stronger, even going into an 8-year, end of an 8-year going into a third term. It's still a resolute political party and not to be discounted.
All right, Mr. Anyambra, if I can just come in briefly and then to focus perhaps on the conclusion reached by the EIU, for example, that formed their basis to come to the conclusion that there could be a change of power. The NDC may likely win the 2024 election. According to them, this is largely driven by declining living standards, limited job opportunities, and poor public services. And they look at the current state of the economy and then they make these conclusions. Can anything significantly change from now to 2024? Do you think you still have a chance of, turning things around for the NPP?
Certainly. The economy is not static. And if you bear witness, you see that the macroeconomic indicators are pointing in the right direction. For a period of time now, the inflation, which has been a major sticking point, has been consistently coming down. Recently from 38.1 to now 35.2. The projection is that it will continue to go down. The economy itself has turned a corner. Midterm, you realize the projection was revised. The end of year projection was revised from the initial estimate to about 1.5. This 2024 budget has reviewed that to about 2.8%, which indicates that the economy is expanding. And with that expansion comes jobs. With that expansion comes increased opportunity and improving economic conditions for people. So in view of that, this poll really, if it says anything, it just talks about what they obtain now, but then indicating our forward move, the economy pointing in the right direction suggests that you come up, if you take the EIU's conclusion and the basis for their conclusion into account, you realize that the minute things continue to change or evolve from where we are, there's a probability, high probability, that people's reaction or voter behavior will change.
But you admit that things are really hard for a lot of people in the country. Incomes have been eroded by inflation and other factors. And these are matters that can influence people as to how they want to vote in the next elections.
Well, yes. I mean, I don't think that you're hearing that for the first time today. It's been acknowledged. And the reason why things are hard also is evident that we've been faced with a very difficult headwind coming from COVID and being hit by Russia-Ukraine. And this is not a local situation, it's a global situation. And unfortunately, the problem we have had in Ghana, and respectfully, I would blame the media partly for it, is trying to hold a very balanced debate platform to be able to bring the facts to bear. Just like you are reading this research findings and are just sticking with the particulars. Even though this research is done by external interest, you are sticking with the particulars. The effects of COVID-19 and Russia-Ukraine, there are particulars for that. But unfortunately, the media in Ghana doesn't stick with that. So that when anybody says it's this government that has mismanaged the economy, the media should be confident based on the particulars that we have that is happening in other places, should be able to tell in that conversation to say, no, it's not entirely true that you say government has mismanaged the economy, because we know here, we know here, we know here. If that conversation happens and we level the playing field, I'm telling you that the forward conversation we'll be having in this country would be about how we solve the problem. And then you can ask the NDC to show their solution, and we'll show you our solution, which then was embodied in the budget going forward. That's where you have a rational conversation. Then we can help the viewers and voters make a rational choice, because ultimately, the election and the outcome of it has consequences. Would NDC have the solution appropriate to deal with the problems that we're faced with? I doubt they do. Do we have the solution as NPP to solve the problem? Absolutely, we have them. And you can vet those and see whether they have potential
well,
to solve the problem.
Sabi Gyamfi is on the line. I'm sure he has response for that.
A lot of things will change from now, and I am very confident that the budget we have put forth has what it takes to change the narrative, and then by December next year, voters will be considering different sets of information going forward.
Please stay with me. Let me bring in Sammy Gyamfi. I'm sure he has a response to the many issues that you brought forward. But Sammy, let me ask: is the NDC only looking at the living conditions now, which you describe as deteriorating, or you have a plan to convince the people of this country to give John Dramani Mahama a second chance? I know very well he's been there before.
Look, my brother, I don't know why Richard is busy talking plenty on this matter. I mean, we are discussing predictions by two internationally reputable organizations, Fitch Solutions and the Economic Intelligence Unit. And these predictions are based on scientific studies that have been done. So to argue with that is to argue with the science and the data. The fact remains that Richard's party, the New Patriotic Party, has gotten 7 years to govern this country. And they were given all these years to lead and govern this country on the back of a plethora of promises being made to the Ghanaian electorate in the run-up to the 2016 general election. Now, an overwhelming majority of Ghanaians today are of one mind that the government has flattered to deceive on most of their promises. The net effect of the promises they gave the good people of this country, for which reason they were elected, was that they were going to make life better for the people of this country. They were going to create jobs for the people of this country. They were going to bring development for the people of this country. Today, the verdict of the people is out. And that verdict is that they have been hopelessly abysmal and a monumental failure in the last 7 years that they've been at the helm of affairs of this country.
Sammy, give me just 1 second. Sammy, give me just 1 second. Once we are doing it, we are also observing, or we are also keeping an eye on the flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, who is currently in the Bono and Bono East region campaigning. We can take a listen to him. He's currently addressing the crowd. We can listen to him and then come back to conclude our discussion this afternoon.
Enti your factories no better cashew dey free cashew farmers no. Na yen so ne wo se ye de ye na ye noa na ye che ne ye ne de to package fefe mu ne so ye de akwa ama no ne na sika na e be free so no na asan ba ye krom ha. Enti no e wo ye yi mu dada. Licensure exams ye kan ho asem 2020. Yaka home dada, yaka home asem dada, 2020. And to assume say, and you say, Wohwɛ colleges of education no ade a wɔn kyerɛ nkwadaa no enu pɛmpɛns ebebia ɛwɔ sɛ eduru a ɛwɔ sɛ woyɛ ho bibi na wɔn ɛyɛ wɔn exams no mu pie ɛyɛ dan na nkwadaa wɔn bɛba training college 4 years no mature exam afi bia wɔn kyerɛ exam afi bia wɔn kyerɛ exam eduru 4th year no mature final exam no more pass it. Ya pass here we are telling my teacher for no. No ask what I say almost I'm better exam bibium and son of my job to be some teacher for. Ezu ain't here there see a balance exam no you be year free ho. Near she share your bay and making sure say nipa bia obekọ college of education obewie no na eche say oye teacher ni akukudam oye teacher ni a onim mejuma e wo so obeye enti e no eye nsem a yakadada e wo 2020 manifesto mu wo hwe Ghana ha enyoma bi wo ho poultry a eye nkokọ ejuma a ye no emo anwa esichire tomato and your crab 2 billion.
So that's the former President John Mahama, who is currently in Wenchi in the Bono region campaigning. He's touring the Bono East region for the next 6 days, and Nana Ojima, who is traveling with him, will join us very soon to bring us the very latest. But we thought we should bring it to this is your election headquarters. We are on pause anyway. Same, so you were giving me a reason why the Ghanaian people would want to stick with the NDC in 2024.
Exactly. So I'm saying that the NPP was elected on the back of the electoral office. And today the verdict of an overwhelming majority of the Ghanaian electorate is that they have failed to keep majority of their promise to the good people of this country. They promised to create jobs. They promised us better economy. They promised us better livelihood. But today, our reality is that unemployment is on the rise. We cannot see the jobs. We cannot see the improved livelihood they promised us. Life has become worse for the vast majority of our people. And so people are genuinely yearning for a change. And this message of change has been made by even leading members of the New Patriotic Party in their just ended flag bearership race, when the likes of Kennedy, Japan, Dr. Ata Kennedy, Dr. Nyahu Tamaklu, Dr. Mwakoba, all of the NPP stock called for change in the leadership of this country. And if you listen to what the people of this country are saying, they are not just calling for a change in macroeconomic indicators. No, we don't eat macroeconomic indicators. They want a total respect of the direction that this, incumbent Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government is taking the nation on. They want a change in the trajectory they are taking the nation on. They want a leader who is honest, who is visionary, and who is experienced, a steady hand, who can steer us out of the mess this government has thrown us into. The bankrupt we find ourselves in today. The debt crisis we have on our hands, the hardship we have on our hands. We are looking for an honest, visionary, experienced leader, a steady hand to steer us out of this mess.
And what is the solution? And what is the solution from your camp to fix this? Yes, I'm asking what is the solution from your camp to fix all the things that you are talking about?
The biggest problem confronting the people of this country is the issue of high unemployment. And today, the NDC, through the visionary nation builder, our flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, has outlined the most revolutionary policy to tackle the problem of unemployment, which is the policy of a 24-hour economy with 3 steps. And President Mahama has said so. Organized labor, that is PUC, has embraced the policy. In fact, according to the Secretary General of the TUC, the policy is a game changer, and it is Ghana's last hope for sustainable jobs. You just listen to His Excellency address students in the Bono region. He's outlining his policies speaking to farmers. He's telling the cattle farmers there that when we get the opportunity to govern this country again by the grace of God, we are coming to support them. The cattle farmers are going to have cattle marketing boards, just like cocoa farmers have cocoa boards, to guarantee minimum prices for their produce. We are going to set up agribusiness factories to ensure that what we produce across the country are not exported outside this country in their raw state, but are processed to create jobs for value to be added to them, so that we can increase our foreign earnings from these, products.
All right. All right.
Local.
All right.
We
Thank you
are
very
talking about the need for us to fight corruption head on, cut down on waste, and so on. He's promised to run the leader's government. So he's outlined at least 30 concrete policies that he has for the good people of this country. Policies that can address the root of the problem that this wicked nation-wrecking Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government has planned out.
All right, thank you, Simon. I guess I can at this stage bring in Mr. Richard Ahiangba. So, Mr. Ahiangba, this report, according to the date on it, was compiled in October, before the MPP went to Congress to elect the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, as the party's flag bearer going into the 2024 election. Do you think that Dr. Bawumia can turn things around? And are you drawing any lessons from what has been put forth as you strategize ahead of the 2024 elections?
Well, thank you, my brother. If there is any media award that must be given, it should be given to you for the specific question you just asked, Sammy. That what is your plan to deal with it? This is the conversation we want to have, so that your listeners can see what the NDC offers and what the NPP offers. Clearly, I give you big thumbs up. Look, the NDC is simply a populist political party. They will say anything, they will do anything just for power. Our former president was just talking to young students who perhaps don't appreciate licensure or feel it's an obstacle. But in this country, we know professional organizations, regardless or outside of their tuition and what they have learned as part of their training, go through certification. You want to do that because you want ultimately that the quality, the professionalization of the group be kept. So if you hear a former president say, when I come, I'll remove certification, you ask your question fundamentally, is it seeking to move us forward or regress? And I tell you that it is supposed to regress that. Students must learn. And if they must become teachers who train the future brains of our country, then they must have some minimum threshold to go through. It is not to hurt them, but it is to improve the quality that we are seeking to build. So that tells you former President Mahama is not coming to do anything good, but to regress the gains he has made. Look, something in talking about this, saying that, they will guarantee minimum price for cashew. In a market economy, my brother, you cannot guarantee a price. If you guarantee a price, you actually shortchange the people, because given demand and supply dynamics, price will go up. So if you guarantee at a certain price, tomorrow the price may go up. And if you just pay them the guaranteed price, you will shortchange people. The reason the market economy flourishes is because, my brother, it engenders competition. And that competition creates wealth. That is a backward idea the NDC is proposing. Rather, let's have an economy that is forward-looking. We have told you our proposals going forward. This thing about 24-hour economy is a dead-on-arrival idea. I'm surprised, to be honest with you, the Secretary General of the TUC saying that's a game changer. I was completely flabbergasted. What game changer is that? Look, the 24-hour economy is not something former President Mahama just coughed at. It's an idea that way back when he was Vice President, Kenya tried that. And when they were going to try it, they set up in 2009 a national 24-hour steering committee to look at the prospect for that. And you know what you need for a 24-hour economy? you need infrastructure, you need an industrial plan, you need an economy that is growing, and you need basically to have an energy plan that is sustainable, that is cheap. The plan to have a 24-hour economy, it is not a plan, a standalone plan. It's something that builds on existing demand. So, for example, if you want to say that we want to encourage a 24-hour city in Accra, already you have a semblance of it on Oxford Street where activities go and so and so. Because people continue to flow on that street. So if you sell water there, if you sell ice skating there, if you sell anything, because there are people who are potentially your demand or your customers, you stay because they are coming to buy. And if you stay there till 12 and people still continue to come, you stay till 1, you stay till 2, you stay till 3. You don't just cough up tomorrow and say, I want to do 24-hour economy. It doesn't happen anyway. So it's not a standalone economy. If you go to the UK, they try that. You go to Sydney, they try that in 2020. It is built on existing infrastructure. The question you want to ask is that the NDC, what economy are you going to build in order to sustain or to give birth to that night economy? So night economy, 24-hour economy is not a
President is free to dream.
It's an idea that results from investment and the economy that you have. The NDC must tell us how they are going to build an economy that will sustain or will give rise to a night economy to exist.
Mr. Nhaba, I asked earlier.
So the NDC doesn't have any idea to help us build from this difficulty that the global economy is. They are just talking, they are just making populist promises that will not materialize. We saw them before, they didn't have any plan, now they don't have any plan. If you just hear what the former president was talking about in Bono, as you have told us, it clearly just tells you that the NDC is on a tangent to say anything and everything. And if in the media, we can have a balanced conversation because it is our country's future in the balance. We can have a conversation that allows for family to come here and me to come and say that this is what we offer. And so that Ghanaians can examine the proposition. It is not about 8 years coming to an end. It is about our future. It's about our country. And that's the conversation. Where we are. It is not the doing of this government. It is by the headwinds that we run into, and we are building out of it. And I guarantee you that by next year when we go to the polls, this economy will turn around and will make a solid case to Ghanaians to trust us because the policies we have, long term, will deliver the Ghana we're looking for. All
right, thank you very much, Mr. Awechina. He is the Communications Director for the MPP. And I guess we'll end the discussion here, but it will continue. I'm sure you can join us on our social media platform if you have any comments to make as we progress on the show. But let's stay a little longer with the NDC because as you saw your screens a while ago, the former president who is leading the NDC to the 2024 election is in Wenchi in the Bono region, and he's interacting with party faithful, touching base and selling his ideas to them ahead of the elections. My colleague, Danaya Ojima, is following him, and at the right time, we will bring him on to tell us what the former president has been up to, and of course to tell us more about the tour which is taking place in the Bono region for now. This is the pulse here on Joy News. We'll take a short break. When we return, we have a lot more to discuss on the show.
Introducing the Kensington Heights at Airport City, Kumasi, the largest modern smart city in West Africa. The Kensington Heights is your bridge to the skies, where you can access direct flights to international destinations, including the USA, UK, and Europe. Imagine a world where convenience, comfort, and investment opportunities converge seamlessly. The Kensington Heights offers an incredible opportunity for families, investors, and businesses worldwide. Enjoy spacious and beautifully designed luxury suites, executive suites, one-bedroom apartments, and 2- and 3-bedroom penthouses, complete with world-class amenities and easy access to the new Kumasi International Airport. All units are on sale now, starting at $69,950. Be a part of the future of Kumasi and reserve your property today. For more information, visit our websites www.thekensingtonheights.com or www.airportcitykumasi.
It's incredible! Bang on target!
A nation that honors its heroes is worth dying for. After months of rigorous contests for recognition in the regions and districts, the maiden edition of the Ghana Health Service Excellence Awards 2023, the grand finale comes off at the Grand Arena, Accra International Conference Center.
Join us celebrate and honor our hardworking health professionals. Date November 29, 2023.
Our special guest of honor, Her Excellency Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, First Lady, Republic of Ghana. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., there will be an exhibition, free health screening, blood donation, and public lectures. 6 p.m., arrival in style, and at 7 p.m., the main awards event begins. For sponsorship, contact 0244-125-314 or 0543-726-406. Ghana Health Service Excellence Awards, celebrating our heroes, our lifeline.
Driving a taxi in Accra is like watching DSTV. The drama in the over me. Last time, my passenger cried in my car, sir. Hey, she be pushing her, Papa. DSTV there, it go over you. Another one.
Magnifique. My child gets so many gifts, and that definitely includes the best of Christmas cartoons. Plus, it keeps her occupied whilst I get things done.
We watch the Premier League on Super Sports like we are in a stadium.
That was not an offside. Rashford was in an offside position, but he wasn't interfering with play. And Bruno scored.
This Christmas, dear, entertainment galore on DSTV. The contents just go over you. Dial *759# to reconnect or stay connected now.
And it's been given away.
Welcome back to the Pulse here on Joy News, also available on our social media platforms. Now, let's move to some other stories now. And how much of illicit financial flows drawing back the economy? It is estimated that stopping commodity illicit financial flows will be a game changer for the economy. Let's connect with Dr. Fred Zanku, a development economist with ISA, and he joins me more on this via Zoom. Dr. Zanku, good afternoon and welcome.
And thank you for having me.
I remember I was at an AU conference in Ethiopia some few years back, about 2 years ago. The annual AU conference that brought together all African heads of states. And the former president of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, he was tasked to look at illicit financial flow. And he provided a very comprehensive report on how this is hurting the African economy. Now, you have been looking into this issue. How big is the illicit financial flows on the continent before we come to the Ghanaian situation?
All right, thank you very much. So what we do know is that you cited the Thabo Mbeki report, which was a comprehensive report that looked at the continent and provided some estimates of how much Africa may be losing as a result of illicit financial flows. And for those who may want to know, when we say illicit financial flows, it's basically any funds that has been illegally earned, transferred, or utilized that siphons away funds that could have otherwise been used for development. And we know that Africa is underdeveloped. One of the reasons is not because we do not have the resources, but the way the resources are managed and utilized for development. So that background is important. So to come back to the magnitudes, the magnitudes that are put out there in the Thabo Mbeki report is one of the reasons why we decided to do our research, because the method, you see, when you talk about statistics, if you get your statistics right, you may not be able to develop the right mechanism to address the problem. So what they did was basically to look at, you look at the destination countries, the volume and the value of resources that leaves the country and what is reported in other countries. If there is a mismatch, the value of that mismatch is put together with other sources of illicit flows such as corruption, money laundering, and so on. They put it together and came up with that large magnitude, billions of US dollars. But our research over the past 6 years has been trying to dig into the micro data, the transaction level data, to be able to come up with values that are more credible, because if you have good data, better estimates, then you are at the beginning of addressing the problem.
So let me, if I may ask, since the AU tasked the former president of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, to undertake this job, has there been improvement in terms of the volumes that leave the continent?
Well, right now we do not have any credible estimates, but what we do know, as the SDGs themselves, put as an agenda, is that IFFs or illicit financial flows is still a big problem because corruption has not reduced as much as we would like to see. Illicit activities are on the rise. If you have conflicts in the sub-region and, all kinds of, illegal activities happening, then I would say that these illicit financial flows are not being kept the way we would like to see.
So really, what is the challenge here? Is it the case that we don't have the needed regulations to stop it, or there are so many loopholes that those involved are exploiting, and to what level does this hurt the economies on the continent, especially Ghana?
There are a number of reasons. I would argue, I'm not a lawyer. In our research team, we have lawyers working on this subject, but the lawyers argue that it is not the lack of regulation per se, right? We have yesterday our lawyer on the project listed a number of laws that Ghana has that can be used to address this problem. We normally talk about the whole issue of political will. I dare say that it's not just political will, because we as citizens give power to the people who rule.
Absolutely.
So we need more than political will. We need also the will of the people to engender change. So yes, political will is one of them, but also even just information and building the capacity of the tax authorities to be able to detect this. I was looking at the budget that was read by the minister yesterday, and we've been having challenges in terms of revenue mobilization and expenditures. Yes. And I saw that it's only about 12% of this year so far are expenditures that went into capital expenditures. And we know that we have a huge infrastructure gap, and therefore we need more revenue to spend. So we need to build the capacity of the tax authorities, first of all, to be able to detect illicit financial flows. We need to build the capacity of those who are collecting the data, the Ghana Statistical Service, to be able to harmonize this data, collaborate with the customs, to be able to tell us what the magnitudes of the problem is.
Right.
When we know what the magnitude of the problem is and the causes of the problem, then we can start to address these.
So the impact is having on the economy.
Well, the impact. So our estimate, at the time that we did this study, we estimated that around 11% of gold, because we focused on trade-related illicit financial flows, which meant that we're looking at possible cases of under-invoicing in order to evade the right, amount of tax that is supposed to be paid. And we estimated that around 11% of these trade flows could be illicit, right, in the gold sector. And if you take that and juxtapose it with how much we are spending on capital expenditure for this year, which is just about 12% out of our total expenditure, it tells you the magnitude of the problem that we have on our hands.
Does this have any relationship at all with money laundering?
Well, money laundering is part of illicit financial flows, right? So it's part of it. It's a comprehensive thing. We just look at the trade-related illicit financial flows, but money laundering is an important part of the problem.
So what do you suggest so that our leaders move away from the rhetoric into action?
Right. So let's look at, first of all, low-hanging fruits, right? Let's look at things that we can address immediately. One major thing that we can address immediately is, as I said before, train the tax authorities, here I'm talking about customs, GRA, to be able to properly value these commodities, work with the industry players, the Ghana Chamber of Mines, to understand what is going on, because the pricing systems can be such complex that if you go to a specialized industry and they give you what their prices collaboration between institutions. We have several institutions in the space that sometimes these institutions are not communicating with each other. So let's have, institutions, a collaboration between institutions so that we can have a harmonized system that will be able to deal with it. So these are low-hanging fruits. Then we can talk about the whole issue about the politicians. Let the people show the politicians and those who are supposed to be making the decisions that they are watching, and that if the right things are not done, they would have their say.
All right, Dr. Fred Zanku, I want to say thank you very much. Perhaps we will look forward to putting your report finally out there so that we can firmly analyze it. He's a development consultant. We've been talking about illicit financial flow, especially on the continent, and it's a major issue. Every Africa Union meeting that I've had the opportunity to attend, it's always been an issue that, is of concern to our leaders. But let's stay in a matter that's quite related. And it's a practice that remains a blot on the conscience of the world today. And many people have had issues. Many were bought, abused, and shipped from Africa to Europe, America, and other parts of the world to serve as slaves. These countries that bought the slaves used them to advance their developmental agenda, getting them to work in farms as laborers, among others. It was a hard and painful period for Africa, which probably the continent left it in poverty. But trade means that there was a buyer and a seller. So who should pay the compensation? Well, we'll find out soon. First, Latif Idrisu report capturing the meeting of African leaders in Accra to demand reparation.
When she took the stage, the chairperson of the AU Commission, Dr. Monique Nsanzabaganwa, said the call for reparation is not necessarily to rewrite history, but to right the wrongs that have not been addressed for centuries now.
The demand for reparations is not an attempt to rewrite history or to continue the cycle of victimization. It's a call to recognize the undeniable truth and right the wrongs that have gone unpunished for far too long and continues to thrive presently. Reparations demonstrate our shared commitment to justice.
Chairperson of the African Union, His Excellency President Azali Assoumani of the Union of Comoros said slavery has done irreversible harm to the African. He explained the scope of the reparation the African Union is asking for. Like other leaders in attendance, Prime Minister of Togo, Victor Tomega Dogbe, who delivered a speech on behalf of President Faure Gnassingbé, said the call for reparations is to highlight the scars of the atrocities and painful legacies left behind by slavery and the call for accountability.
Colonization and slavery were weapons used to destroy our people. And they also put in place immaterial weapons, and the consequences were losses of human lives. And this cannot be quantified, such losses. And we would have the necessary compensation to repair what was destroyed by colonialism.
What many people do not know is that in order to end the slave trade, the UK took out the largest loan in its history, and this particular loan we did not pay off until 2015. This means that I, the descendant of enslaved peoples taken to Brazil and the Caribbean, and the descendant of colonized peoples of Ghana through taxation myself, paid towards the slave owners and not the enslaved.
And all the reparations are supposed to be given to people of Algeria, and all this that we are saying, Algeria is making effort in order to make sure it benefits economically, and also it will fight all the crimes that the people of Algeria are faced. Algeria has also carried away and also has recognized that the countries should not only concentrate on the reparation, but it must also consider ways that will lead to the sustainability of development, be it economic, social, or political.
Not long ago, we stood unmoved in the face of adversity to confront the servitude of colonial subjugation and racial discrimination fearlessly. With singular determination, we reclaimed our dignity, freedoms, and right to shape our future. Thank you, Ghana. In Kiswahili, asante sana, Ghana.
President Akufo-Addo on his turn said, being the first sub-Saharan African country to gain independence, Ghana owes a special responsibility to Africans in the diaspora. Thus, the need for the just call for reparation.
When the British ended slavery, all the owners of enslaved Africans received reparations to the tune of some 20 million pounds sterling, the equivalent today of some 20 billion pounds sterling. But enslaved Africans themselves did not receive a penny. Likewise, in the United States of America, owners of slaves received $300 for every slave they owned. The slaves themselves received nothing. Native Americans have received and continue to receive reparations. The Japanese American families who were incarcerated in internment camps in America during World War II received reparations.
And we've got some numbers to back the need for some kind of a reparation, and we're going to analyze and ask the question whether the call is legitimate. But let me just do a 5-minute tour of Liberia. Let's head to that town now to bring you some updates on the presidential elections after collating results from about 85% of polling stations in the round of election. Opposition candidate Joseph Boakai is slightly ahead of President George Weah, according to the Electoral Commission. Mr. Boakai so far has 50.6% of the vote, whilst Mr. Weah is on 49.4%. Dr. Abdel Fattah Musa is Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security at ECOWAS, and he joins me via Zoom. Doctor, good afternoon and welcome to the Pulse here on Joy News.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
So what's the latest on the collation of results? And are we Are we close to declaration?
Yeah, as you noted, about 86% of the results have already been announced, and the Electoral Commission is going to that. The NEC is going to meet in the next 20 minutes or so, and we anticipate the announced declaration of the results. And I think by the end of the day today, we are going to see who is the winner. In fact, it's the difference between Ambassador Boakai, who is the challenger, and President Weah. It's like, a razor thin. In fact, between them, at the moment, it is less than 1% between them. And then we have about 7,000 polling stations to call, this event.
So therefore, you will say that it's very close. It's too close to call.
It's too close to. It's too close to call. And what ECOWAS has been up in fact, we've been meeting the leadership of the two parties, the Coalition for Democratic Change, that is the ruling coalition, and also the Unity Party. We've been meeting their chairs, their chairpersons, and their leaders, just to the count in the country, until the final results, because we saw the day before yesterday and yesterday, people prematurely declaring themselves as the victims, and the whole environment was eating up, intolerably. We had to intervene to make sure that they await the final result by the National Elections Commission.
But from ECOWAS perspective, will you say that the conduct has been free, fair, and transparent?
Look, as far as the election day and even before, in fact, the atmosphere was more or less very, 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 sort of peaceful. And the electoral officials from NEC actually demonstrated a higher level of professionalism during election day, that is on the 14th. They performed a lot better than the first round of the election on the 10th of October. Okay. And I don't think anybody has any complaint about the conduct of the National Elections Commission. But they say the taste of the pardon is in the eating. The final count is what is going to make the peace in this country, and that's what we are anxiously.
And therefore, based on your own analysis and your assessments, both victor and loser should accept the outcome in good faith.
That's our appeal, and beyond that, in fact, we just came from Sierra Leone not long ago, where following the last elections, there was a logjam where the opposition refused to take up their seats and other thing, and we had to go in a preventive diplomacy mode in order to get them together. This country, just like Sierra Leone, is sharply divided. In fact, it's divided down the middle, and the results of the elections actually point to that. So our appeal is that whoever wins, this country needs healing, and there is the need for them to make conscious effort to bring about social cohesion and national unity, and have a vision of the nation beyond partisan, politics that we are seeing today, in Liberia. Much of it is identity-based. Who are Americo-Liberians, who are the natives, and then all that. And that does not augur well for the future of this country.
All right. Dr. Fattah, thank you very much for joining us with this very important update. We're just praying and hoping that everything will go smoothly and peaceful, so that when the declaration is done, the Liberian people will accept the outcome and move on with the development of their country.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having that. That's what we are all praying for. We are still in Monrovia. We are waiting for the final results. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that's ECOWAS Commissioner Dr. Abdul Fattah Musa, and he came through for us with the very latest on the Liberian elections. Now let's return to our reparation story, and we've got some numbers behind the African slave trade. Let's take a look at it. So from the early 1500 to 1860, slave traders, compelled some 12.5 million people into transatlantic slave ships from Africa, excluding those who died during the journey or before departure. And that's, is something that has been on the conscience of the continent. So what really, there's been calls. Ghana estimated total slave export between 1400 and 1900 for Ghana stands at 1.614,793 million people, and approximately equivalent to a population in the Volta region of Ghana, 1.65 million. So a lot more of our compatriots were taken from the shores of Ghana to work as slaves in America, Europe. If slave trade had not occurred, the average annual income per capita of African countries would have been, in estimation forms, $2,679 and some $5,000 as well. Currently, the annual income per capita of African countries is just $2,040. These are facts that are available and is, by courtesy of the Harvard University and IMF data. So there's been calls. I mean, this would not be the first time President Akufo-Addo, for example, is making a call for some kind of a reparation. He's made a call several times, and we are yet to get a concrete response from the people who benefited from the slave trade. Now, in the studio here with me to look at the issues and to see if the call is legitimate is Jafta Igomero. I hope did I get the name right?
We heard him off. The N is silent.
Thank you very much. He's the founder of Herero. Yes, People's Memorial Reconstruction Foundation, and he is here with me in the studio. So,
Namibia.
Yes, so we are asking for reparation.
Yes.
Some will say that we've been demanding unconditional apology.
Yeah.
We are yet to get it. Yes. Are we not moving too fast?
No, we are not going too fast. I mean, we are talking about like more than 100 years in terms of slavery, and we are talking about more than since the first country of African country was independent. So we are not moving too fast. It's time for Africa to be compensated in terms of reparations and what is owed to Africa. I mean, as you can see, there's a continuous underdevelopment of Africa, and it has nothing to do with because of we cannot manage our resources, because our resources are always extracted and to advance the economies of other countries. So,
since this call was made, I mean, I think years back.
Yes.
And the people who are supposed to act, they are yet to act.
Yes.
So how much noise can we make to get them to act?
Well, I mean, if you have not been a part of the movement for a long time, you think that no progress has been done. But people who made noise, some of them passed on. But right now, the issue of reparation, especially in the United States, has taken a different dimension that there's some state governments, California and other parts of the United States are addressing, and they're willing to talk about reparations. And you have seen the waves of Western leaders apologizing all over. I mean, the king was in Kenya, and the president of Germany was in Tanzania. So there is some shift in terms of consciousness, but not enough for us, for Africa to make a difference. Unless we make a noise, then we are going to move the needle.
So justify the call for reparation for me.
I mean, in my case, I'm from Namibia, and what happened briefly, Germany came to Namibia and fought my people, over Herero and Nama people, and they killed 80% of those groups. And the killing was not the fighting, was intentional, and they had an extermination order against them, like they have to be exterminated. They would use the word exterminate. Their first concentration camps was there, and so what we are asking for the German to pay reparations, because we have a history of them doing the same to other groups.
How far have you gone in
well, Germany half-heartedly apologized, and then they said that we are going to give you $1.1 billion, however, over a 30-year period. And we are not going to call it reparation, we are going to call it grants to help with your projects. But we are not interested in projects. We want reparations that we can determine how to invest it in our communities. And we have to put it in industry or to create industry. You cannot create industry with grants from Europe, from Germany. So, and we lost land because when they kill our people, they clear people of their land. So 80 or to 60% of the land of the Herero and Nama people in Namibia today mostly are resettled by the German for our settlers, who are Namibians, of course. So, but we have to try to reconfigure this imbalance in order for us to address that.
So you think that African countries should speak with different voices, or all of us should come together and make our voices known?
We should all speak with one voice. The issues are slavery, colonialism, be it the genocide in Namibia or the Congo, or colonialism or slavery in Ghana. They are similar. They have all similar because they play out the same. Because when you're talking about the historical term, sometimes we fool ourselves. But the current conditions, unless we learn to tie our current economic condition of Africa to the past, then we are going to be continually perpetuating, to miss the mark in terms of...
But you heard the leaders on the continent, you heard them speak.
Yes.
You heard our president, Nana Akufo-Addo. When he addressed the just ended United Nations General Assembly, he made the same call. Beyond the talks, what do you expect that they do to force those who benefited from slavery to act and act right?
Well, at the meeting, I'm glad the president made that call, and many other ambassadors also made the call, and we are hoping that other African leaders and even African people who are in influential position, artists, will join the call and amplify their voices. But at that meeting, we had over 200 activists from all over the world. And so we have a program. We have to go back to our community and amplify our voices for call for justice, reparations, and restitutions. Of course, you are probably aware that there is museums in Europe that
artifacts, they are still holding on to it.
They make money off that. Why is it that these issues cannot be returned? We are not benefiting from it, but they have been made by the artists from the continent.
Do you have, is there an estimate as to how much, we require from them?
Well, you cannot quantify suffering. It's hard to quantify even the Atlantic slave trade, but we know how they compensated. We are at this point we have universities and professors. They can quantify that. It's not really that difficult. But when you put a price tag to human lives, sometimes you kind of miss the mark and you discourage people because then. But there is a moral aspect of it too. Some of us. We would like the reparation to include the dignity of the people, of our people, to restore. How do you restore? To restore our cultural values that has been taken. Someone taking a mask, something from Africa or grave to Europe, that people have been wronged in many ways. So we have to come together as Africans that this meeting was trying to achieve, and maybe in the future, in order for us to craft an agenda, and even to come to that point, like what is owed to us.
And again, my other question is the reparation, would that be enough to cover the scars left by this, unfortunate incident?
I will say that if there is enough compensation, the reparation, we're talking about billions or trillions of dollars, then we can sit down and how we can reconstruct or how we can move forward. Of course, the damages that Western countries has done to Africa and African people, it's unquantifiable. But then we have to involve the civil society. Reparations, we are not asking only to be between the two governments and governments. We are talking about the civil society to get involved. And we are talking about the community, traditional leaders, so that they can construct an agenda, common agenda as to how to move forward or how that can be used. And you see a lot of our youth are now running to Europe, risking their lives. Why? Because Africa is underdeveloped. Absolutely. So if we can say that, okay, we are going to create industries here so that people can benefit, then they have to create their own stuff, give money to young women and men and women to come up with the idea how to develop our own continent. Of course, Africa, China many years ago was probably at the same level like Africa. India was, but they moved on, so why not Africa or Africans?
All right, my final question to you, Jafta, as we take leave of us. So what happens next after this international conference?
I think there's going to be follow-up. We develop a communique in terms of what can be done and some recommendations. And of course, it's just up to the African Union and other head of state to give support or to lend their full support to your president in order to advance and carry on the reparation agenda and to open up their country to similar conference so that the message of reparation should not be in Ghana, but should also amplified to other countries, including Southern Africa, East Africa.
All right, Jafta, thank you very much for coming. We wish you the very best in this pursuit of reparation for the African continent. Okay, and we just hope and pray that those who have blocked their ears, they open it and listen. All right. Very good. So you are still watching the Pulse here on Joy News. We're taking a short break. When we return, as we head into the Christmas festivities, Joy News is intensifying its Drive Safe campaign to keep our roads safe. So what should we look forward to? We've got a Joy Thought Leadership event coming your way this weekend.
Welcome to German Ozone Medical Center, the pioneer of ozone therapy clinics in Ghana and West Africa.
If you are dealing with conditions like diabetes, diabetic ulcers, stroke, arthritis, bodily or skeletal pain, viral infections, and more, we invite you to explore the advanced complementary therapy. Rediscover your true self through our facial micro-needle sauna for detoxification, bringing forth the radiant glow you've always dreamed of.
For exceptional dental health solutions, we offer services such as digital Hollywood zirconia smile, clear aligner treatment, implants, and digital dentistry. At the German Ozone Medical Center, our dedicated and friendly team of professionals are committed in providing you with unique and top-notch dental experience. Call us on 055-024-2222 or 055-025-2222.
Daddy, this tank is big!
Yes, that's true.
It can store a lot of water.
That's so true.
Wow! It has a working tortoise on it.
That's so true.
I can see S-I-N-T-E-X. Syntax.
That is so true, my daughter.
When it falls down, it will spoil.
That's not true.
But why?
Hey! Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana. Syntex again was the first to introduce white inner layers in Ghana. Syntex gives you the biggest warranty, 7 years. No matter your water needs, Syntex is the answer. Syntex tank. Are you strong? Are you tough?
The 2023 EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is more than an exhibition. It's the gateway to your dream home. Don't miss this chance to make informed decisions about every aspect of your living space. Join us at the Accra International Conference Center from Thursday, November 23rd to Sunday, November 26th, 2023. This year, we are diving into the theme of home ownership, exploring the nuances between affordability, comfort, and luxury. We are bringing everything housing under one roof, just for you. See you there. The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is in partnership with EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and powered by the Planned City Extension Project from Citizen Habitats. Rent to own. And sponsored by Elegant Homes and General Constructions Limited, where quality meets value. Global Lighting, your solution to quality lighting. Syntex Tank, Air Strong, Air Tough. Springfield Estates, where dreams are built. Virtual Security, complete security solution. DBS, your roof experts. Virtual InfoSec Africa, security solutions by design.
Alphabet City, the ABC of Home Sweet Home. Saint Gobain Weber, Gyproc, Proroc, Placo, Isover, making the world a better home.
Clifton Homes, beautiful homes, wise investments. The Kensington Heights, Airport City, Kumasi, by HDG Homes Limited.
Smile, Look lively, okay? Smile, smile. Is the money too small? A bad stomach ruins your day. Don't let it. Take Gastron, your most effective antacid for the relief of symptoms of peptic ulcer, heartburn, gas pain, flatulence, and indigestion.
Hey guys, what are you waiting for? Let's go, let's go.
Mwah. Can you bring down the smile small? Gastron, effective relief from stomach discomfort. Manufactured and distributed by NS Chemist Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the
Welcome back to the pulse, and we are like 39 days away from Christmas, and Joy News is intensifying its Drive Safe campaign to keep our roads safe during the festive season. We'll bring you content that helps to minimize dangers, enhance safety, and ensure that if there is an unfortunate event of an accident, victims get the best chance of survival. So what happens to those who have already suffered injury as a result of accidents on the roads? This afternoon, there's a campaign by the Accident Victim Support Ghana working with the National Road Safety Authority, DVLA, the Ghana Insurance Association, and the National Insurance Commission to raise 10 million Ghana cedis to support those who have been affected by accidents on our roads. In the studio is Reverend Cyril Craft, President, Accident Victim Support Ghana, of course, Madam Judith Barnes. Right, also here with me in the studio to talk about this laudable initiative. My interest is the support for those who are victims of accidents, and I think it is a very great initiative that we have undertaken. I want to congratulate you even before we started the discussion.
Thank you.
So, what motivated you to, put this together?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Let me say a quick good evening to you and our cherished listeners, especially to all those who have supported us till now. Our motivation is from the suffering that we see crash victims go through and the neglect that the entire country has given to these people. At least there should be one person that will come out vocally that these people need to be helped. And so for the past 14 years, we think we've worked behind the scene far too long. We need to come out and try to explain the plight of crash victims so we can have at least the requisite amount to help. We cannot help all of them, but those that we can reach out to help, we help them to come back, at least if not full life, to near life, that they can also enjoy their livelihood. Of course, indeed, they never called for it, but they find themselves there. So that's our motivation, that humanity would empathize with these people. I'm just going to go on one trip and come back, and that's the situation I find myself in. I have never prepared myself.
And no fault of yours.
No fault of yours. Somebody's recklessness has cost me this, and it looks as if the entire country had laid blind eyes on it. And so we, as accident victim support, we think that it's about time we let the entire country know that we are also in a very, dark challenge and difficulty. And so if we have any support to support them, we have to. And that's why we have to bring to this band to let the people know that this is what we are doing. So when they come at least around and they support, the money will be put to good use.
So Madam Jiriba, tell us a bit about your story. Summarize it for us. What really happened?
My story is very, very sad. Well, I went to Kumasi. In fact, it was Tamale, rather. I went to Tamale for eye checkup and then back to Takoradi. I got to Kumasi. I went for Takoradi, and then I had the accident around Cape Coast.
On your way from Takoradi to Accra?
On my way from Kumasi to Takoradi. Okay. It happened. We just got there. There was a little bushfire going on beside the road, and then the smoke was very, very thick. It was heavy smoke. You couldn't see anything. The car coming from Takoradi were stopped. The ones coming from Accra too were stopped because of the smoke. This side will go a little for this side to also come. So we were stopped. It's now our turn to pass through the smoke. And then all of a sudden, I couldn't see anything. So I was unconscious for some time. I realized I was at the hospital.
Wow. And how has that affected your mobility, your life, and everything?
It has affected me a lot. In fact, moving around is not easy. Like staying at one particular place is very, very difficult and sad. You can't do anything for yourself unless someone assists you. You can't do, and because the trauma that you go through it, you will feel like dying will be a better thing for you. You have to die because the suffering is too much. The pain and everything is too much.
So, Reverend, how is this initiative going to support people like Judith?
Exactly. So let me use Judith. In fact, we're bringing in about 4 victims. Some we have to carry. Some have come from the north. We couldn't bring them because your studio can't contain all of us. So let's use Judith alone. Now, Judith, during the accident, finds herself at the hospital. And she has to pay for hospital bed. She has to pay for the numerous surgeries, even within, for as long. Judith spent about 5 months to 6 months in the hospital.
I had 6 fractures. My legs, both my legs were broken. Both my thighs were broken.
But
both my hands were
broken. If you can just show Judith's
we'll show it.
Yes. So that's what we are talking about. The financial constraint. At the end, Judith has spent like 200,000 Ghana cedi already. If I'm right, that's what you call 2 billion. Yes.
From my own resources.
From my own resources. Nothing. From my own resources. Now, after this, alone, family members, church, and ourselves going there. Then when you finish, insurance will sit with you and tell you how much they want to give it to you. You understand? So if we don't have, some money down to help people like Judith, I have seen again victims who had come out from the hospital and they still want to die because they have huge debt following them, which they never planned for it. So this and fundraiser is going a long way. We can't help all crash victims. I must confess, to be very honest, there are about 15,000 at the end of every year. We can't. But the few that we can at least extend a helping hand, we just do that and extend a helping hand. So like I said, he has a huge debt, and that resonates with almost all crash victims, let's say 1,000 crash victims who are suffering like that. So we need to do something that we can help them to come out of it. We have numerous hospitals calling at our door, sending, WhatsApp bills of victims. The people who are... And sometimes, in fact, the surgeries ranges from, the surgeries I know, it ranges from 4,000, 8,000 to 12,000. One surgery. Aside the physio that you go, all of that. And sometimes they come to our aid, and here we don't have what it takes
any support to give
to them. So now we need to appeal to the entire country, government, corporate Ghana, to come and support that. At least we had that credibility and integrity of the work that we've done. Judith is a clear example, so we are calling them that there are others that we need to help. So we need this money to be able to help all across the country. You have victims coming from Oti region. When you hear their story, you will understand.
So the target here is 10 million Ghana cedi.
It's 10 million Ghana cedi. If we can get even one person giving us 10 million,
that would be great.
Praise the Lord.
And I expect somebody to just go and say that I'm taking care of everything.
Exactly. But I think that it is everybody's concern. I think now it's a matter we need to turn to the table, that you and I need to discuss it, because it's becoming one too many. At the end of every year, the quotes, the statistics are very scary. And on the 19th is the World Remembrance Day. So we think that, look, as an entity that supports financially these people, we need to come out and then clearly state the facts involved so that at least we would end empathy from people to support these ones. You could be there, I could be there.
Of course. Nobody wake up and leave his home hoping to be involved in an accident.
Exactly.
So it can happen to everybody. Today you are fit, and next day you can be disabled. However, we will have a lot more time to talk about it because this is just the first start. Time is up. So
the venue.
Yes.
Okay, so the event, the I Support Accident Victims, is happening at the Fiesta Royal Hotel on Sunday, the 19th, which is the World Remembrance Day. The National Road Safety Authority will be celebrating it all over. But in the evening, we are having the fundraiser. Time is 3:30 at the Fiesta Royal Hotel, and the time is 3:30 p.m. in the evening or later in the evening. And so we expect everybody to come. Engineer May Ubuyebwa is going to chair the program. And we have about 15 crash victims from all the regions across, the 16 regions across the country. And so we are expecting that people will begin to come and then support this clarion cause. Of course. We can help these people.
Thank you very much. And I will be there myself to also contribute to my widow's mite.
0505 150 822 0505 150 822. And we expect that every victim who has an issue should call and then come to the program on Sunday, 3:30 p.m. Fiesta Royal Hotel.
Fiesta Royal, Sunday, 3:30 p.m. Reverend Cyril Crab, thank you very much. Madam Judith, I wish you the very best. I mean, it shall be well. That's all I
wish you should do this.
Of course, we'll do that.
I wish you should.
We have a lot more time to deal with this matter, so
but we will expect your cameras to be there on
Sunday. Of course, on Sunday. Yes. All right, so we're still on the matters of road safety, and in just about a month, the entire country will be buzzing with events, mostly entertainment, as people party to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. But as you prepare to attend these events, how safe are you? I've just been talking about safety and your loved ones at these events. Is the Reason Joy Entertainment is organizing a thought leadership event to raise awareness and get event organizers to provide the needed safety. Before that conversation, though, there is a report filed by my colleague following revelation by the Finance Minister Kenneth Ofori-Atta in the 2024 budget presentation to increase government investment in CCTVs and logistics for security services as Ghana prepares for December in the country.
December in Ghana is the time of the year that everybody looks forward to. Last year, a couple of events had security breaches and many other issues with regards to security.
It doesn't matter what is going on. If any of these guys leave this stage right here or leave this place in a body bag, that will be on us. Do you understand? And that's one thing we don't care. We don't want to happen. Now at this point, whether you hate me or whether you love me, I want you to understand the reason why we've had to end the show is for your own safety.
Well, the Finance Minister of Ghana, Ken Ofori-Atta, presenting the 2024 budget on the floor of Parliament, says government will work towards enhancing security during the December in Ghana activities.
Mr. Speaker, Ghana remains the preferred tourist destination in the sub-region. A steady stream of domestic and international tourists also requires dedicated spaces in cities to drive a night economy and tourism. As we promote December in Ghana initiatives, we'll also work towards enhancing security and the lightening infrastructure.
Okay, so in the studio is Kwame Dagzi. He's host of Showbiz A to Z, and of course, Sefa Gohoho-Boalen, founder and CEO of Untamed Empire. She's joining us via Zoom. It's obvious what's informing this, but why has Joy Entertainment taken this keen interest?
Elton, so we're approaching the December in GH, so many events are coming.
Yeah,
and
some already started.
Exactly, and I'm very sure you're going to be as
of course, I'll be everywhere.
Other Afrofuture,
absolutely.
And others. And as usual, we always seek to have proper event organization. You go there for the events, and then you have value for your money. Apart from that, we go to events sometimes, and some people get attacked, some others get robbed, and all of that. So we are looking at how we can have safety at our events, and that's why we put together Showbiz Roundtable, the fourth edition, coming up tomorrow at Labadi Beach Hotel. Yeah.
So who and who are expected to be? I've seen on the flyer the IGP himself.
IGP Dampizi is repping live. Yeah. He's attending this event tomorrow. And then we have Uncle Ebu White, who's a playwright, event organizer, also coming. We also have other people like Sefa Gohoho-Boalen, the CEO of Untamed Empire. Untamed Empire is an event center. She will be there as well. Then we have, from the security side, CEO of Asuavo Security Company Limited, Richard Osei, he will be there. And then we go insurance. Because sometimes we go to events and some people get injured, they get so many things happen to them. I remember in 2019, during Medical's concert in Soto, there was one guy who got hurt. A speaker fell on him, and he was taken to the hospital, got paralyzed. So in that situation, do we have any insurance policies
for such an individual?
Exactly. So from the insurance field, we have Solomon Latte. He is going to also help us with that education from that angle. Yes. So it's a 360 discussion on events, venues, and safety tomorrow. Yeah.
I'll come back to you, but let me bring in Sefa. Sefa, so how ready are you for this roundtable discussion? What are your own expectations?
Hi, thank you for having me on the show. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow's roundtable discussion because it's a very important discussion. We heard what happened to Madam Judith, and great job to Reverend and what he's been working on. But for us as an event venue, we've dedicated and invested quite a lot in security. At Untamed Empire, being that it's a youth-facing event center, primarily for the youth, we've spent a lot of money because these are people's children, you know. We mainly have between 18 and 35-year-olds at our venue. So we've invested quite a lot in making sure that everyone who comes to the venue is safe and secure. We are completely walled. And so even though we are about 5 acres big, you know, it's a safe venue, it's very contained. We have on site, there will always be an ambulance, the fire service, and of course, the IGP has been very generous to help us with police, but we do need more police on the roads because our car park is just across from our venue. So as people are crossing the Spintex Road, which is where we're located, just behind Accra Mall, you know, it's a busy road. So we require the support of the security services to make sure everybody is safe. Another thing that we need to make sure is that our street lights, you know, they're not always turned on. So these are some of the things that we're going to be discussing.
It's a big issue.
The government needs to support us to keep everybody safe. But tomorrow is going to be a great discussion. It's like a one-stop destination for all the updates, insights, and discussions about the events, venues, and safety coming this Christmas.
So for you, what would you advise for event organizers? Because we're going to have so many of them this December.
Well, I think they should come to the Showbiz Roundtable, or they should tune in because it's bringing together a panel of experts who are well-versed in the entertainment industry. So you're making sure that you receive accurate and reliable information about what you need to do as an event venue or an event organizer to keep people safe. So people should definitely try and tune in. My advice would be that they really take the time to invest and they dedicate the resources to invest. We've been so fortunate that in our few years at Untamed Empire, even though we're one of the biggest venues in Accra, being that we can take 15,000 people, we've never had any serious incidents. We've had minor things happen outside our venue on the streets. And so I think it's because we pray that nothing happens this December, but I think nothing because we're really focused on making sure everybody is safe. During Dirty Rave coming, the Akravaganza Festival, during Junk Fest, during all the great big events happening.
Okay, so Sefa, thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow at the event, hopefully. So Kwame,
yes.
Let me give you the final words.
So there's one name I left out, Kojo Poku. He has organized most of the big events in this country. He's also coming tomorrow. And so, yes, if you are not able to be there, Labadi,
you're live on Joy 99.7
Exactly, or my joyonline.com, Facebook, Joy 99.7 FM. If you want to be there, please send us a message to 055111197, and then we send you an invitation.
And what time is it starting? 2 p.m.?
2 p.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow.
And then if you can make your way, venue again is
Labadi Beach Hotel.
The IGP himself will be there.
Oh, he's there.
So when the number one police officer is there, then security order is
exactly,
yes.
Exactly, yeah.
All right. Kwame Desi, thank you very much. Hope to see you tomorrow as we discuss safety ahead of the Christmas event. Well, folks, that's our show for today. It's been wonderful having you throughout the week on the Pulse on Joy News. Hopefully on Monday we'll have another exciting edition as we look forward to the rest of the week. My name is Elton Brobe. Have a wonderful, productive weekend.